Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat, our WWE show. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Akeem the African Dream.
Hey everybody, Gary Rhodes.
That was for you, Warren. You wanted to go with the Twin Towers team.
Good team.
But first thing we're going to start off talking about the Monday Night Raw show was the first thing of the night, Miz quitting Team Punk for the Survivor Series, which was a running thing the whole night. They switched around all the teams, but we'll get into that a little more as it goes on. The first actual match of the night was Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, and R-Truth versus Antonio Cesaro and the Primetime Players. I thought it was a decent match. What do you think about the match?
I thought it worked pretty good. And like I said, it helps build up the rivalry between Cesaro and Truth.
I think the whole match, that was the point of it, was to build the Cesaro versus Truth rivalry, as well as the Rey and Sin Cara versus the Primetime Players, but more so they were bringing to the forefront R-Truth and Antonio Cesaro, which should be added to the Survivor Series pay-per-view.
I think they've had enough time. Next, we had the Vicky Guerrero, John Cena segment.
Ugh. God, again, they're going into the ripping off Claire Lynch thing. She's showing more video of the two of them going into hotel rooms together. It's just bullshit. It didn't work in TNA. It's not going to work in WWE.
Well, I think it's what it is Vince knows it didn't work there, but Vince thinks he could do anything better, so he's going to try it. I think it's just a mistake.
Yeah. And it's bad. I mean, the only thing I like is it's going to pull Cena out of the title picture, and maybe he'll feud with Ziggler, who, you know, we seen later on talking or being creepy with AJ Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, after coming back from the break, we had Paul Heyman recruiting Wade Barrett to Team Punk to replace The Miz, which evened up the teams again.
And it's funny is, Barrett is a guy I'm really high on. I think Barrett is going to be a future WWE champion, world champion, and I think he'd be a good add to the team.
Yeah, and it works out really well. There's still even more changes later that happened. Next, we had the two single matches with Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes, where Daniel Bryan beat Cody, and then Kane versus Sandow, and Sandow went over, Cody beat Bryan, Kane beat Sandow. Again, building the feud between the Rhodes Scholars and Team Hell No, which should lead to they're in the Survivor Series teams, but build their feud a little bit more. It's probably one of the better feuds going.
Yeah. Then we had Brad Maddox? Yeah. He comes out and explains himself or what he did at Hell in a Cell.
Basically, he says he's always wanted to be a wrestler. He's never got an opportunity. Even in developmental, he was looked over and they made him become a referee. So finally, he's seen his shot to make a name for himself and screwed over Ryback, which brought out Vince to say that if you could beat Ryback next week, we'll give you $1 million contract.
I think Punk's going to screw him. It'd be funny.
I hope so. That would be kind of funny. And then, of course, Vince brings Vicky out to change the Survivor Series team match. He pulls Punk and Ryback out of the match, further changing the teams even more, and sets up a three-way with Punk versus Cena versus Ryback, which in my opinion is only so Punk can go over on Cena and Ryback doesn't take the pin.
Exactly. Which brings us to the question of the week from last week.
Speaking of Survivor Series.
Yep, sorry.
And well, first let's go to some of what our friends have said for us. First one's from Choppy84. My dream team for Survivor Series would be CM Punk, Kurt Angle, Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart, and Shawn Michaels. Sorry for the late response, guys. I was having problems with power and internet in New Jersey because of Hurricane Sandy. Great show always. Keep up the good work. Good to see that Choppy's got it back, and good to see all our friends up in the Northeast are starting to get back to normal. After the hurricane, it was pretty bad, probably one of the worst in our history. But good to see you guys are coming back. I really like that team he made. The next is from our friend and Never Meant to Fade, Nick Bockwinkel, Harley Race, Kurt Hennig, Ric Flair, and Daniel Bryan. So we're already seeing there's a couple guys that are coming over on everybody's. The next is from Paul from the Deadly Sins, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, CM Punk.
Solid team.
And then we got, and again, seems to be everybody has some similar guys on theirs. Mass Tweeter gave us Team Tweeter, Bruiser Brody, Harley Race, Roddy Piper, CM Punk, Randy Savage. First time we hear Savage and Race on here, and Brody. Good, another really good team. Lou from the Deadly Sins. My team would be Kurt Angle, Bret Hart, CM Punk, The Big Show, and Big Papa Punk. I like the makeup of his team. He added some bigger guys, kind of like a traditional Survivor Series match. And the final answer from one of our friends, he put Carlo D'Angelo, HBK, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, Randy Orton, John Cena, and Triple H. Basically the last 15 years of main eventers in WWE.
Yeah.
What would be your team?
I was going to ask you that.
Well, I'll go ahead and go first. My team, I'm basing this off of how you would build a Survivor Series match. Now, it's a team match, so I would want the greatest team of all time, the Dudley Boys. Now, that takes up two of my spots. You got Bubba Ray and Devon. Next, I would want a big guy, someone that can anchor and take out a few people, which I would bring in probably one of the best big guys of all time, Yokozuna. Then my next guy is a guy, I'm not a huge fan of his, but kayfabe-wise, his most successful event is Survivor Series, Randy Orton. He's been a sole survivor 3 times, and he's won a championship at Survivor Series. Then the leader, my team captain, would be Handsome Harley Race. The guy that could go all night long, one of the toughest sons of bitches that's ever done it.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to start with a ring general, and I'm going to start with Ric Flair. Got to have a ring general in a great tag.
Well, that's why I went with Harley.
Exactly. Second, you're going to have a great tag team. Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton. You got a great tag team. Then, you're going to need a power man. That comes with Vader. Vader's one of my favorite big men. Everybody knows it. And I want to top the team off with a little bit of a wild card. See how it goes with this. Sabu.
ECW original, Sabu.
Yeah, so I went with pretty much old NWA and a little bit of ECW.
That's a decent team. I like the makeup of it. Of course, Sabu's a guy that he's probably going to be the guy in kayfabe-wise that gets disqualified.
Exactly. You're going to have that guy.
Yeah. And it kind of goes along kind of with what Tweeter did with having Bruiser Brody on his team. You have to put in a wild man on there. I like that. Some really good answers from our friends here. All these are pretty much awesome teams. And I mean, if you can put any 5 guys you want, you just name your favorite 5 or do like we did and think of like a strategy to it. Some of you guys had more of a strategy. Some of them just named main eventers. But either way you look at it, it's not a bad idea. Now, the question of the week for this week is they got with all the changes to the Survivor Series traditional match this week, we got Team Ziggler now is Ziggler, Barrett, the Rhodes Scholars, and who was the 5th guy? Alberto Del Rio. And Team Foley without Ryback now is Orton, the Hell No, and Kofi Kingston. Now there's a missing spot on Team Foley's team.
You can get my spot.
No, Arn, it's not your spot.
My dog spot?
It's not your liver spot either. But anyway, who do you guys think is going to be the 5th guy on Team Foley? Let us know. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Put it down where?
Down there.
Right down there in the comments below this here video. No back today?
Stinger borrowed it from me. I'll have it back for the TNA show.
They used to call you Crazy Joe. Now they could call you Batman.
Exactly. Sorry, Heath. That's what they're going to call him now.
Anyway. But that's our question of the week. Who's going to be the 5th member of Team Foley? Let us know what you think. We'll tell you our opinion next week on the show. And coming out of that, the next match of the night was, I think, the best match of the night, Sheamus versus The Miz.
Sheamus.
And I know you've kind of pooped on me a couple times when I've given Sheamus the best match of the night, but again...
I have to agree with you on it, because
I think he brought it this time. I mean...
Sheamus is a guy that can be more than what he is. And I think he's getting where Cena is, where he's got the 6 moves of doom, or whatever you want to call it.
The 6-hit combo of queer.
Exactly.
Patent pending, Lou.
And let George do it. I didn't want to pay the dividends or whatever you guys call it. But anyways, and I think that's going to ruin this kid's career. I think if he gets stuck in that, he's not a Cena yet. He's not big enough to be that guy that just has those moves. But the thing is, when he's working with guys that bring more out of him, he shows a lot more. Like this week, he has Miz. Miz brings a lot out of people. Miz don't get the credit Miz deserves for being as good as he is. A lot of people just think he's the
reality guy.
Exactly, the guy from Road Rules and what is it? Real World.
It was a Real World.
Well, they did a challenge show too.
Yeah. But Miz and Sheamus are both two guys that have really improved, in my opinion. Another guy we're going to talk about a couple matches later also has improved tremendously. But these are two guys that have really stepped up to the plate. I think Miz more now looks like a main eventer than when he was the world champion and main event in WrestleMania, in my opinion.
I see big things in Miz's future. Next, we had the Divas match, tag match. Oksana and Eve versus Layla and Caitlyn.
You know what my mom always told me, GR?
What's that?
If you ain't got nothing nice to say about somebody, don't say nothing at all.
Okay, then we'll go to the next match. Kofi Kingston versus Alberto Del Rio.
And this, other than the Sheamus and Miz match, this was my second favorite match of the night. I thought it was really well worked. Kofi stepping it up to the plate, showing the talent that we all know he's had. This was the other guy I was talking about, Alberto Del Rio. It looks that he's finally adapted to the American style of wrestling, to the WWE style, and he's picking it up. I truly believe he is the new Apex Predator. I don't think it's just a gimmick. I think he's taken Randy Orton's spot on the roster.
And as do I. And like I said, as we were watching this, I was like, the more I watch ADR, the more I'm impressed with the guy. He's got his psychology down packed. His moveset, he don't botch. I mean, rarely, but nothing that you could pick up on. The matches that he's been putting on with Orton, with Kofi,
and that's the thing. He works a lot like Orton.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very similar style to Randy Orton, and he's very convincing in it because you really think the cross arm breaker. If you watch MMA, that's a move that's a killer in MMA. Anytime that goes on, look at Ronda Rousey. She wins every single match with that same move, and it's a believable move that you can win with.
Well, the thing I was really impressed with when I heard they were going to do ADR versus Orton for a new program back in the day, a couple months back when they were starting this.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be boring because both of them like to work a slower paced match, but they picked their paces up. I think he's helping Orton remember that he is a superstar.
And tonight we haven't watched the live SmackDown yet. As we're taping, it's not come on yet, but they're having a Falls Count Anywhere match, which is a match I'm really looking forward to.
That'll be the high point of the night. Now, the best tag team match of the night was Team Cobra, whoop whoop whoop,
versus the Clones.
Well, you're supposed to, it.
I'm not doing that.
I tried, folks. Try to give him personality. Head cheese.
I'm Lance Storm with this match, no personality. Can I be serious for a moment?
Exactly.
A decent tag team match. I think the wrong guys went over. Team Cobra, they're just a mixed match team that's not going to be together long.
That's all it is.
Or the Clones are a team you could actually build in the tag division.
They wrestled at WrestleMania as tag team champions, and now they're losing to Cobra.
No, they didn't wrestle. They
were at the pre-show. Remember?
Yeah.
Still, they wrestled on that stage. They and Cobra sucks. I'm sorry. I give Ryder all the respect in the world, but he's a kid guy. They should be just wrestling on Saturday Morning Slam, and that's it. Not on Raw. They're taking good guys' spots.
Where's Jimmy Cornette when you need a slap in the face?
he do both of them. I break my tennis racket or whatever it is.
And then the next match of the night was Wade Barrett versus Brodus Clay. Being in England, Wade Barrett was pretty much wrestling as a face.
And I was, not shocked because I knew it was his hometown, but I was shocked the way that Brodus actually just kept going. It was very professional how he kept the babyface character growing through the whole match. He didn't try to do anything heel or anything like that since he was getting booed. He wrestled as a face through the whole match getting booed.
And he took the clean win, putting over Wade Barrett in the home crowd, which, he deserves to do. Wade Barrett, like you said earlier, is a guy that I see as being a future champion, future main eventer. Then after that, we had the bring down match. Was Heath Slater versus Jey Uso.
Slater gonna slate, yo.
I don't understand why this wasn't a tag team match. Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal versus the Uso brothers.
I don't think they just wanted to end the show with 2 tag matches, though. I think that's probably the whole deal.
Well, the thing of it is again, like we said a little bit earlier with the Colognes, Jey Uso's the one that took the pin, and I don't think he should have. I know you're trying to build 3-man band up as a new team, as a new faction, but I think the Usos are a lot better than what they're getting used as on TV. They're one of the most underused talents in the business, I think, right now.
I think they need to be repackaged. They're still young. Have them come out the Wild Samoan style. Have Keish come out, not dyed hair, have his hair black, not dyed blonde, and kind of bring back the old head shrinkers gimmick. I think it would work with these kids. And plus, if they didn't tattoo different, I think that they could have...
the tag switch thing.
Exactly, and I think that would help in their advantage. I mean, that's just my opinion. The guys can move, and they're great.
I think they're an awesome tag team. Probably the best actual tag team in the WWE, in my opinion, and they're the one that gets shit on the most.
Mm-hmm.
They're the guys that are being used as enhancement talent when they're
the true talent.
They're better than, I mean, them and the Colognes, I think, are the 2 best tag teams on the show. I mean, Team Hell No is a tag team just for now. You know, the Rhodes Scholars, again, tag team just for now. The Ray and Sin Cara, which I think is a great tag team too. They're right up there in my opinion. I like the way they work together. But you got 2 teams that are looking like they're going to be teams for the long run, and they're not getting the pushes they should deserve.
Mm-hmm. Well, that brings us to the main event of the night. CM Punk and Dolph Ziggler versus John Cena and Ryback. Feed him more?
Feed him more. A decent match. This first time we see Ryback in a tag team match, even though most of us have seen him as Skip Sheffield wrestled tag team matches on NXT and when he was part of the Nexus. But they were pushing it as his first tag team match, so
we'll go with it.
We'll go with it. A decent match. The Punk was over with the crowd as much as he's been over anywhere else. The heel turn obviously isn't working in England, which was something that I mentioned to you. You asked about, while we were watching it, you asked me, do I think Punk is still selling the merch? I said, well, look at the crowd. You see a lot of yellow, as much yellow as any other color. And then when we really looked at it, Punk, Ziggler, and Daniel Bryan
are the 3 top.
When you look at the crowd, just based off of the crowd, I don't know what people are wearing at home or people buy off of WWE.com, but Punk, Ziggler, and Daniel Bryan, you see more of their shirts than you see Cena shirts and you see anybody else's shirts, more than, Zack Ryder, more than anybody on the show. And there's a reason. Fans like these guys. Punk and Ziggler are guys that should be up in the main event. Ziggler is kind of stuck in a position where he's not quite broke the glass ceiling yet. Punk has obviously broke the glass ceiling.
I think Punk's broke the glass ceiling. He's making his own building right now.
Yeah, and Punk is building his Hall of Fame career as we speak. I think if Punk quits now, he's already in the WWE Hall of Fame. What do you think?
Oh yes. And the thing is, I mean, he's one of them guys that takes a little bit.
You almost went Paul Bearer on that.
Oh yeah. Anyways, he takes a little bit from every legend and just
adds his own flavor.
Exactly. The Macho Man elbow drop. It's not as clean as Randy Savage's, but he does it in respect, and I like it. Just a lot of his stuff. I mean, he takes a lot from Bryant and stuff like that too, from back in the ROH days. But
the go to sleep he took from Kenta.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, he's just evolved enough where he is bigger than Cena. I said it.
I mean, he is, and the fact of the matter is, he's at day 352 today.
350. Well, today's 352.
Today would be 352. He's within a month of moving up to like 4th on the list of longest WWE title reigns, and pretty much that's all the further he's going to go, because anything after that is 4+ years, and no one's going to do that. No one's going to go 4 years anymore. I mean, if they prove me wrong with Punk, he's a guy to prove me wrong. Mm-hmm. The fact that they got basically 2 world championships right now, the world title and the WWE title, they could theoretically keep him as that champion and have the other title switched around.
Well, let's get to the match. They did beat up Cena and the other, and Ziggler and Punk went back and forth. They finally get the best. They get the best of Cena. They're working down Cena.
He gets Ryback in.
Ryback in this smashes everybody.
Yeah, Ryback destroys everybody, and then that gets the clean pin on Punk. And then after the match, Ryback and Cena kind of have a stare down, where Ryback's yelling "Feed me more" at Cena. It was a good way to end the show. A nice little thing leading up to the three-way match. What did you think overall of the show?
I think the show was good. I wouldn't give it a 5-star. I'd probably give it like a 3.5.
I'd actually go a little bit lower. I'd say 3. It was just good enough to keep my interest, but not good enough that I was sitting on the edge of my seat.
Exactly.
But that's basically all I have for the show. You got anything else you want to add?
I'm all out, buddy.
Well, I'm George Coles.
I'm Gary Rhodes.
And this has been Heel Heat.